Hey, what's up guys, Totallydubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review for the Creative Sound Blaster Jam Bluetooth headphone. Now when I first saw these on Amazon.co.uk and Amazon.com, they came in at £40 on $50. Links will be in the description below in case you're wondering. Now that price is quite high simply because this headset, or headphone shall I say, has a lot of competition. But we're going to try and see how it performs and what you get in the box and all of that. So first of all, what do you get in the box? Well, it's quite simple. What you can see in front of you. The warranty information, a manual, a wire which is a micro USB used for charging and doubles up as plugging onto the PC, which I'll mention in a little bit. And you got the headphone themselves. So nothing too particularly over there, nothing that you'd say amazing for the £40 price tag or $50. Now the headphones themselves are nicely designed. You've got a logo over here, and you've got a nice cool kind of sound bars or little dots going up over here, which make it a different sort of a look. I think on the head it looks very nice, and as it's a very small headphone, it actually fits quite flat on your head, and therefore they don't stick out quite a lot, which is always a plus. Especially if you're going to be hitting the gym or something like that, then you might be worried about it sticking out or hitting some weight or whatever it might be, or if you're running around, these headphones are very much quite flush and sit really well on the head. Now in terms of functionalities and its actual build quality and comfort. So first of all, the functionalities. You can see it's got an NFC logo, and that's because it's got NFC capabilities. You can tap your phone, get NFC, and then connect via Bluetooth. Now the Bluetooth technology that's being used is supposedly the Bluetooth 4.1 technology. Now this is what I read online, but from my experience I didn't really feel that Bluetooth 4.1 technology. And the reasoning behind that is because of its range. The Bluetooth range for me was about 5 to 8 meters in clear sight, and about 3 to 4 meters whilst having a wall in front. That is not great because Bluetooth 4.0 usually for me ranged up to 10 to 15 meters. So I'm not saying this is due to the technology used inside, it's just that I'm just trying to say how it actually performed for me. So that is a note on the Bluetooth, and of course the Bluetooth life is something that's very important. Now it's quoted to have about 12 hours wireless audio, and I noticed about this time of audio, give or take, my tests are really of just playing the music and letting it stay there, and obviously I'm not using the functionality, so therefore it can very much depend on your usage, but around 10 hours is what you can expect, which is very good for a small Bluetooth headphone. Now you'll be able to see that the Bluetooth headphone has got a micro USB port over here. Now the micro USB port, as I mentioned, also doubles up as going to the PC. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, I can just charge it via the PC. Well no, you can actually use this headphone plugged in via the PC as your primary audio sound. Now this is amazing. I haven't come across a lot of headphones that actually have this functionality. The fact that they're Bluetooth and they're actually headphones via the PC. And therefore you can use the headphone via your PC via the micro USB connector. That's a huge plus and a huge thumbs up from me, simply because there's not a lot of headphones that actually offer this functionality, and on top, even if they do, they have the problem with drivers or you need software. This was a literally plug and play, and it came up on the playback devices on Windows 7 as my Creative Jam headphones. That is amazing, and I really like that. So top marks to Creative for that. Now you also notice that it's got a little hole over here, and that's due to its mic functionalities. This can be used as a mic, but not as a headset, at least that's what I found. Connected on the PC, I did not see this come up in the recording section of my playback devices on my sound menu, but when connected via Bluetooth, I had no problem making calls or receiving calls, and the sound quality was actually quite good. So recording quality, top marks again to Creative. Now its functionalities over here, you will see you've got plus and minus button, which is obviously volume, but also double up as skipping music and going previous in terms of music. You also got a play and pause button over here. If I click it over here, I should be starting to play some music. I'm not sure there you go. Make sure if you can hear it, but if I hold this button, it's going to change song. And there we go, it's changed song. So it's very easy functionalities in terms of that, and works very flawlessly, at least with my Galaxy Note 2. you're also able to see a bass button over here. Now this was quite intriguing. So the bass button supposedly increases the bass response. What I found is that it increases bass, the mid bass, and lowers the mid quality, the mids. So obviously you're boosting the bass, you're kind of EQing the headphone to your liking, but it's a nice functionality to have, and it gives you hardware EQ, so to speak. You don't have to fiddle around with your phone per song, you can just press a button. Do bear in mind that when you do press a button, it cuts out the music. Let me try, cuts out the music briefly and comes back. Let me try and demonstrate that. I don't know if I'll be able to, but let's try and do that. Let's go up in volume, press play. So I'm not sure if you're able to hear that, but it just briefly cuts out for a little while and then comes back. It's just something that you should, again, bear in mind if you're going to be using this bass button quite often. Now, in terms of its build quality, I'm a little bit hesitant to say it's great, simply because it's pure plastic. Now the pure plastic means that it's got a plastic adjustment, which isn't great. That means over time it could wear thin, and on top of that it's got no folding functionalities, and the driver doesn't kind of pivot or rotate to your head. Now it's a little bit of a shame, because I would have liked to see these functionalities, especially at the £40 price tag. It would have been nice to see. But the reasoning behind this is because this headphone is super light. It's one of the lightest headphones I've ever come across. It's so light that you don't feel it on your head. And due to its design in terms of its pads, it sits quite nicely on your ear, and therefore you don't really feel it. This is a great functionality, but again, it's a little bit hit or miss. Simply because I'm sure people would have preferred this headphone to be folding in or pivoting around, or that you can fold the headphone, or even have a nice adjustment in terms of metal in order to have a better lifespan. So it really depends. See as you fit, see as you will. Personally, I see it as a little bit of negative, but when I see the lightweight nature of the headphone, I can see why Creative have designed it this way. So I give reasonably good marks in that respect to Creative, because they've actually thought their market out. They said, you know what, doesn't matter about all these functionalities, what we want is a very light headset. In order to achieve that, we need to go full plastic. So just bear that in mind when you're going to be buying the headset. And therefore, when it comes to comfort, it's not a biggie, but there's no sort of padding at the top, and the drivers don't pivot. So if you've got a abnormally large head or small head, then you might find a little bit of a problem. Personally, I didn't find a problem, neither did my mother when she tried them on. She actually loved these because of its lightweight, and so in terms of comfort, she had no problems. The pads themselves are not very thick, but they're just enough in order to fit on your ear comfortably. These are on-ear headphones, so therefore do bear in mind that there's going to be a bit of sound leakage, and the noise isolation isn't going to be that great, but this is things that you're going to be expecting from on-ear headphones. Now, what about the sound quality? I've talked about a lot about the product itself, but what about the sound quality? Now, the actual sound quality is actually surprisingly good. The mids are decent, they're not too recessed. The highs extend quite well. They do roll off after a certain amount, but they're quite decent. And the lows, with that extra bass functionality, have a nice mid-bass slam. Without the bass functionality, the mid-bass is a little bit toned down, but the sub-bass is almost non-existent no matter what setting you're using. That's a little bit of a shame, but again, to be kind of expected from light, small, portable headphones. So overall, the sound quality is decent. It's not amazing. For £40, you can get a lot better sound quality, but you won't get the same functionalities in terms of lightweight, Bluetooth functionality, NFC, and the fact that you're being plugged into your computer. So bear that in mind when making the purchase. The soundstage was decent, and I quite liked it. It felt quite open, and obviously it sounded like an open back headphone because it was an on-ear headphone, so therefore it's quite airy, so it's quite nice. So overall, what are my thoughts? I just think that this headphone is very much addressing one target market, and it's good. It's a lightweight portable headphone that can be connected via Bluetooth, and in case you want to go home and connect it via your computer, you can connect it via USB, micro USB. And that is exactly what the market is for these headphones, and I think they nail it absolutely to the wood. It's amazing. I think that they really hit the the sweet spot over here, because it's not trying to compete with people with great high sound quality. It's not trying to compete with people with amazing Bluetooth connectivity. It's competing with exactly the market it needs to: portable headphones and light. So overall, guys, I think there's a great buy. I think £40 is a little bit high to ask, but for its functionalities, you can see why you're paying that amount. So if you're looking for a Bluetooth portable headphone that's very, very light on your head, then I'll definitely check out the Creative Sound Blaster Jam. Again, links in the description below for amazon.co.uk and amazon.com in case you're interested in purchasing it, guys. Alright, I've been Totally Dubbed. Hopefully you've enjoyed this review. If you have, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share, all of that good stuff, as it always helps. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care. Bye-bye.